we always do at this point, we do the best and the worst of the previous year that we just wrapped up. But we thought this year it would be fun to do like an award show. So here we are, dressed up in our absolute best uh, to fit the occasion.
With hoodies.
With hoodies and hats, exactly right, because that's how we do things around here.
You should have
So
seen us
we're
at
gonna
the
go through
film
and do our
premiere.
yes. We're gonna do the best and worst. We each have three. We did not collaborate on these, so we'll see how it goes. But we do have awards to give out. So
Yes.
let's start with our honorable mentions before we get into the actual winners here, Brig. Why don't you start with your whatever it is you did for your honorable mention, whether it's a best or a worst.
Honorable mention for the worst. Probably the worst. Well, that's interesting. I didn't qualify it, but all of my qualifiers are really, really not kind right now. So I'm editing myself as I go. How about this? Worst decision making by a fan in 2024. Okay, my honorable mention. The guys at Yankee Stadium in Game 4 of the World Series who tried to wrench Mookie Betts' wrist off, or his hand off his wrist. I know they were pulling for the glove. First the ball, then the glove, then his whole freaking hand.
Yeah.
You are banned. You are prosecuted likely. That was stupid. That was just stupid. That's worst fan decision of 2024.
Very good. I like it. That is the absolute worst fan decision. I agree with you 100% on that. Okay, my honorable mention is actually a best, and mine is the best manipulation of payroll. And that goes to the Dodgers. Because
right.
who else
Yeah.
has done it the way the Dodgers have? They signed Shohei Ohtani to $1 bajillion for half as many years, and they're only paying him $2 million for a while because they deferred $680 million from 2034 to 2043. Okay, but it doesn't end there, Brig. They deferred 8.5 million of 23.5 for Teoscar Hernandez, and on top of that, they had already been deferring money from Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith. They just signed Blake Snell this offseason in 2024, by the way, and they're deferring some of his money too.
Yeah.
So the Dodgers have this whole payroll manipulation thing down, figured out, and so they can build super teams and win World Series and deal with the money later.
Be wary or watch out for that new CBA. This is going to come up in the new CBA. You watch.
I think it will.
All right. I'm going to jump in with my one of my worst. Just one of them. Worst personality in Major League Baseball. Worst overall guy. Worst bad dude of the dudes. Okay. John Fisher. John Fisher owns the A's, and I'm giving him the dubious award of the worst dude of the dudes in all dudehood within Major League Baseball.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong.
I think I see him counting, like swimming in piles of cash maybe, or lighting cigars with $100 bills, or, whatever, conjure whatever evil, miserly, or whatever, penny pinching, whatever the word you prefer is. That's how I feel about John Fisher right now.
I think a lot of people feel that way about John Fisher because I think miser is perfect because that's how it feels with this whole Vegas deal because it still feels like lip service. Like it's not actually going to happen. Like I think it was my wife the other day was asking me, she's like, so when are they going to be in Vegas? I was like, well, they say 3 years, but they haven't even broken ground on a stadium yet. So
yeah,
who's to say?
Yep.
We don't know.
Nobody.
Yeah.
There's one of my worst.
Okay. My worst is going to be the worst disappointment of 2024, and that goes to the Toronto Blue Jays. Because what we have expected of the Blue Jays over the last several years has been really great competitive baseball, competing for the division, at least in the wild card, right? Making the playoffs in the wild card, and going into the playoffs looking like they could really make some noise. And granted, They haven't. They've forgotten to show up twice now. But the
Yeah,
fact that they're
that's
there says something because my team hasn't been there the last 2 years now. So
yeah. You're right.
there's that. Um, but this is the thing. I've got some numbers for you, Brig. They went from
Okay,
89 and 73 in 2023 to 74 and 88. That is a 15 game drop for those of you keeping track. They finished 20 games behind the Yankees, which would have been an accomplishment for most of the division had the Yankees kept their first half pace, but they didn't. It's 20 games,
right.
puts you way out of the playoffs. The biggest drop off as far as the roster came from Bo Bichette, who was the team's best player in 2023 with a 4.9 B WAR, dropped to a negative zero point 0.3 B WAR in just 81 games
Oh,
in 2024. Okay. George
oh,
Springer dropped from 2.1 to 1.1. Chris Bassett from 2.5 to negative zero point 0.1. Chris Gosman from 3.4 to zero point 0.9. Jordan Romano went from 2.1 as a nails closer to negative zero point 0.3 and missing the second half of the season with an elbow impingement. And Yusei Kikuchi dropped from 1.8 to zero point 0.1 and getting traded to Houston at the deadline. That is just an absolute mess. Yeah, just awful. Just a
yeah.
mess. So they are my biggest disappointment. They're the worst disappointment of 2024.
I like that. That's good. All right, my second worst. I'm giving the worst roster award, worst roster management, to the Marlins. Okay, they fielded 70 individual ball players this season. 70
That's a
unique
lot.
ball players. Now, that's only one
Is it the most?
player. It is, but only by one player. But it
Okay.
still is the most. Last one was, I think the Cubs or the Mets did it in like with 69 guys. But yeah, 70. They fielded 70 unique players throughout the league or throughout the season. And at one that had the 9-player shuffle at the deadline certainly had a lot to do with it, but they let go of Jazz. Makes no sense to me. Luis Arise, not why would you do
And
that?
early with a rise too.
I know, like the whole thing makes no sense. The team ended the season with a collective B WAR of 1.9.
Yikes. So
so
bad.
so the worst roster, I'm giving it to the Marlins.
Yeah, that's warranted for sure.
It's just
Okay, my next worst. The worst trend of 2024 was everybody and their mother needing Tommy John surgery.
yeah,
So I was curious how many guys needed Tommy John this year because they were all dropping like flies at the beginning of the season. And Fangraphs had 24 guys injured in 2024. And yeah, 24 guys in 2024 who were injured and needed Tommy John. Now, this doesn't include everybody because, like, Spencer Strider had to have the ligament brace, right? Because his
yeah,
wasn't due to a tear from throwing. His actually, he had a bone spur that developed, and that actually like
right.
cut into the ligament. They said the ligament looked good, just need to go in, give it a brace, fix it, everything like that. So this is guys who needed Tommy John, needed the brace, all that. And 24 Brig, 24. That's almost five starting rotations.
Yeah, right. That's a great way to put it.
That's absurd. That's a
That's a
lot.
lot of
So
perspective right there. Yeah,
they've talked about putting rules into place to help with this, but I don't know what you do. I don't know how you regulate whatever. Your spin rate's
I
too
don't
high.
either.
Stop spinning the ball so hard. You're gonna hurt yourself. But yeah, I don't know. But it's a terrible trend. Bad for baseball.
I agree. All right, my next one. In fact, this is my last one on the worst list. Worst heart attack. Worst choke job. Worst end of the season performance. Worst World Series death knell, maybe. I don't know what to call it. But game 5 of the World Series for the New York Yankees was the worst. They gave up a 5-run comeback. And then they took the lead and they lost. Okay. In 120 World Series contests, okay, 120 World Series contests, this is the worst comeback ever.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That nobody's ever come back from 5 down. That's just bonkers to think about.
No. Nobody's ever come back from 5 down, lost the lead, and then regained the lead and won the game.
Oh, okay. There it is. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
And the everything that happened to bring it about was the worst. How do you drop that fly ball, Aaron Judge? I don't understand. How does Garrett Cole not run to first base? I don't understand. We could go on. It was just that was the worst. That was the worst. And it was even great for the Dodgers. So I guess I understand it's polarizing. However,
right.
You don't want. I don't know. I want to be on the winning or the losing side of a clean contest, and this was not.
Well, I mean, it's not like the umpires tainted it. It was just
True.
the play wasn't clean, which
That's
is
just 100%.
I understand that's what you want, but that's what separates the champions from the losers, right?
Shut up. But yes, you're right. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Go away. I did bring it up.
Did
and
I
I had
send you
to.
that Instagram post? Did I send you that Instagram post? Some Dodger fan made the score bug from right at the beginning of that inning as a window sticker on their car. It's 5-0.
Yes.
Yankees were winning.
Yes.
That's so good. So funny.
I hate it. Okay.
All right, my
I'll
last
be bitter
worst.
the rest of my life.
Well, you've got a new dark spot, so there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
All right, my last worst. The worst meltdown was the Seattle Mariners losing a 10-game lead in
Yeah.
24 games. Not just the fact they lost a 10-game lead, but they lost it in 24 games. I'm in a couple Mariners groups on Facebook, and at 10 games, Mariners fans like, oh man, just have to finish 10 games better than the Astros the rest of the way, and we won't lose the division. We'll win the division. 24 games later, we're no longer 10 games better than the Astros. So here's the breakdown of 10 games on Houston on June 18th. Also 13 games over 500, by the way. That was a season high. That was as good as it
Yeah.
got. After games on July 18th, this is the first game back from the All-Star break, the Mariners and Astros were tied for first in the division. Went 50, 52 and 46 in the first half, pretty awesome, but then went 33 and 31 in the second half and missed the playoffs by 1 game. You ready for that 1 game, Brig? This was actually, this was right before the whole debacle started. This is when we should have known something was up because the craziest thing about them missing the playoffs is that had they won the game on June 7th, where they were up 7 runs in the first inning and got out to an 8-0 lead in the top of the fourth, rather than giving up 3 runs in the ninth and getting walked off 10-9 to the Royals, they would have made the playoffs, and the Royals would have missed had the Mariners held on and won that game up 8-0 with a 9-6 lead going into the ninth inning.
Whoa.
Winning run was scored when they couldn't convert, could not turn a double play. Unbelievable. That is the biggest meltdown of the year. And I don't care who you are, it is not close. And it is embarrassing.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on a positive note, shall we?
Let's go on a positive note.
Okay, give me your first best.
My first best is the best turnaround.
Okay.
Best turnaround of the year, I'm giving it to the Tigers. The Tigers were 8 games below 500 through 118 games. Let's take a minute and let that set in. They're the second team ever to make up that difference and make it to the postseason since the 1973 Mets went 8 under through 135 games. 135. Wow. That would have been incredible. Okay. They were 10 games back of the postseason through 118 games. So not only at 118 games were they 8 games below 500, but they were 10 games out of playoff consideration. They made it
Yeah,
back
that
and made it in the playoffs.
I remember we had them dead and buried in August.
Totally. Yeah. They went that last 44 games, they were like 29 and 15 or something crazy,
Yeah,
something
they had
nuts.
the best record in baseball.
Yeah. Yeah, it was insane. So for me, the Tigers get the best turnaround.
I like it. That's a solid one. That's really good. So I have a best turnaround as well, but it's a turnaround from 2023 to 2024. So a different
Oh,
turnaround. Okay.
okay.
And this is the Kansas City Royals because they went from
Wow.
56 and 106 in 2023 to 86 and 76 in 2024. For you actuaries out there, that's a 30 game improvement. That is a
Jeez.
heck of a turnaround, Brig.
Yeah.
So I know they lost the ALDS 3 games to 1, but I do not care. The fact that they were there is amazing.
Yeah.
And when you lose more than 100 games the year before, you're not supposed to make the playoffs. But they did. So
I
here are some
agree.
notable improvements, some players who turned it around from 2023 to 2024. Okay, Bobby Witt Jr. went from a viable star to an absolute superstar slash MVP candidate. He finished seventh in the MVP voting. Salvi Perez upped his WAR from zero point 0.5 to 2.5. Vinny Pasquantino, the Pasquatch, upped his WAR from zero point 0.1 to 1.1. Cole Reagans went from 2.6 to 4.9. Brady Singer went from zero point 0.3 to 3.1. Seth Lugo, at age 34, came over from San Diego and upped his WAR from 1.9 to 5.3 and good enough to be a Cy Young runner-up. That's
Yep.
outstanding.
Unbelievable.
Just unbelievable across the board. The fact that they were able to turn from what they were one year to the next, amazing. I don't know if they're going to be
Yep.
able to do it again this year, but
Who knows? But
it was an
that
outstanding 1 year run if that's what it was.
yep, I agree with you. Okay, mine is my next one is best slugging, best sluggerer, best launch angle guy, best whatever you want to call it. This one goes to Aaron Judge. Okay. Not only did he post a 10.8 WAR, B WAR on the season, he was an all-star, silver slugger, and an MVP. Finished first in the MVP voting. 158 games. Check this out. That's 704 plate appearances, 559 at-bats. The dude had 180 hits, 58 home runs, 144 RBIs. He walked 133 times, so there's some serious balance going on here. On base percentage, 458. Slugging was 701. That not only led the league, but that led the league, but it led all of Major League Baseball with 701. I think like there's only been two guys to do it since 2000 something, and Barry Bonds was one of them, right? To go over 700 in a single season.
Which is bonkers
It's bonkers.
to be
And
in the same
Barry
breath as
Bonds
Barry
was,
Bonds.
yeah, Barry Bonds was like 735 or whatever it was in '06 or whatever. So, and we all know why. That's fine. OPS was at 1159. OPS plus 223. Those both led the league and all of Major League Baseball. So, let me see. Where's that other stat I want? Doesn't matter. Here it is. Last year, his B WAR was 4.5. This year, it was 10.8.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, so I give the slug leader best of to Aaron Judge.
Love it. All right. My next one, my next best is the best at being the worst. And who else do you give this to than the Chicago White Sox, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They lost 121 games. That's most modern era. Nobody will ever touch the Cleveland Spiders record of 134 losses in 1899. That's not the modern era, so it doesn't count.
Right.
Their biggest losing streak was 21 games. That stretched from July 10th to August 5th. The All-Star break adds some calendar days in there, so it's not quite as long as it feels, but that's still a really long time to go without winning a game.
Yeah.
gonna wear on you. They're shut out 19 times. We're just 6-24 in April. If you thought they couldn't get worse after a 27-71 first half, which is, by the way, 276 winning percentage, it sure did. Because they went 14-50 in the second half with a 219 winning percentage. And here's some
Whoa.
perspective. First half, they were on pace for 118 losses. If they kept the second half pace the entire season, they would have ended up losing 127. So at the end, when it felt like they were winning more games, it didn't matter. It wasn't making up for it because they were so bad in August and July.
Yeah. Wow. Cool.
If you're gonna be bad, be the best at being bad, and that's what they did.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. Wow, that's magnificent. Thanks for the breakdown.
Hey, no problem. That's what I'm here for.
You forget how ugly it is until you look back.
I know that's the thing is you forget how ugly it really was, and then it's like, whoa, that was really bad. Maybe we should just try to erase that from our memories, but we shan't, Brig. We cannot forget. Never forget.
Never. Never, never. And we shan't. You're right. We absolutely shan't. Okay. My final best. This is my best of the best of the best. The best overall. The best of the greatest. The greatest best in the history of wonderful, awesome bestesses. This is the best dude of all the dudes. This award goes to Freddie Freeman. Of all the dudes.
Frederick.
Okay. Frederick, not only was he dealing with tremendous family difficulties all season, which would break pretty much anybody. He stayed in there when he could. He took time off when he needed to, put his family first. Huzzah. You get every brownie point, golden star, whatever, for all that. On top of that, he was still able to manage a 4.7 WAR, played 147 games, accounted for 89 RBIs. He hit 22 home runs, worked 78 walks, batted almost 300 with a 282, on base at 378, slugged at 476. Okay, his OPS plus was 143, and he was selected as an all-star. Now, if that's not good enough, he also began playing hurt, and hurt bad. And not only did he didn't follow his team through the playoffs into the World Series, he helped carry them that far. And in the World Series, he won the World Series MVP. And it was absolutely warranted. Guess how many guys have hit 4 homers in the first 4 games of the World Series?
I think he's the only one, isn't he?
Yeah. He's the first guy to ever hit a home run in each of the first 4.
And Reggie Jackson hit 3 in one game.
Exactly. Here's Freddie. He hit 12 RBIs in the World Series. That's tied for first all time with a guy named Bobby Richardson in 1960. I was chicken scratch problem. Sorry. I wrote it. I literally wrote it down. Yeah, Bobby Richardson did it in 1960. So now Freddie Freeman is tied for the first all time in World Series RBIs with 12. Those 12 RBIs, he hit a 300 average just during the World Series. And he's clutch. He was clutch the whole time. Not only was he clutch, but if you needed an honorable mention moment, that walk-off World Series home run was the single greatest bat flip of the entire season, where he's holding it up for all the people to see, and then he tosses it. And it was, I'm a Yankees fan, it was magnificent.
Truly.
It just was, watching him was a spectacle.
It was. And I think I asked you this before, but I cannot remember. But did you sense that he was going to hit that home run?
No, but you did.
You didn't feel it. I did, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, you called it.
Yeah.
That was just an unbelievable moment.
It just happens sometimes. You get in the moment and it's two-story book, you know what's going to happen. And that was walking up to play. I was like, oh my gosh, he's going to homer right here.
Well, and
That's going to
Kirk
be it.
Gibson and all that. Like, come
Yep.
on, dude.
Yep.
So for me, Freddie Freeman, for all those reasons and probably more I'm not aware of, that he gets my award for the best dude of dudes in the history of dudes.
Love it. Infinitely the best dude award goes to Freddie Freeman.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
All right, what's your last positive?
All right, my last one. This is the best of the best. That's why I saved this for last. But this is best performance, and it goes to
Okay.
Shohei Ohtani,
Yeah.
specifically on September 19th against the Marlins. Lest we have forgotten, Brig. He went 6 for 6, hit 3 home runs, 2 doubles, drove in 4 runs, and 2 stolen bases to boot. This is the night that he got 50-50, created the 50-50 club, was the first player ever to do so, and had us thinking that there is no reason at all he shouldn't get 60-60. But alas, it was not to be. But 50-50, again, amazing because he's the only man sitting in the VIP section of that club. That is it. Nobody else is there. And this is the thing about this performance is that we talked about this and we put the clip on YouTube and too many people, one person would have been too many people in the comment section to say, yeah, well, he's facing position players. I don't care. You want to know why? So did everybody else on that team. Everybody else in that lineup was facing position players for 2, maybe 3 innings because it was a blowout. Nobody else hit 3 home runs in that game. Nobody else went 6 for 6, off the top of my head. But nobody else put up one of the single greatest games. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention 10 RBIs. He drove in half of his team's runs on that game. Nobody else single-handedly did that. Shohei Ohtani did it, put together the greatest combination of statistics we have ever seen in a game, and it will never be touched. I can
I
almost
agree.
guarantee you that.
For
This is the
sure.
best performance we have ever seen in Major League Baseball and ever will see. If anybody surpasses this, then I will give them the best performance award. But until that time, it goes to Shohei
Yeah, you come and take it.
Ohtani. And I don't know who would be the guy to take it either. Because maybe he ups himself. That's the only thing I can think of. He's the only guy
Well,
I can
yeah,
think of who
there's
would do that.
that. There's that chance.
Hit 4 home runs and steal 3 bases and drive in 15 runs. I don't know.
Wow. Okay.
Who's to
Slow down,
say?
Brad. Slow down. Somebody'd have to get reincarnated at this point. Okay, so just
Well,
easy
he's
there,
alive,
cowboy.
Brig. But anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Nobody's alive that'll. Nobody except maybe him.
Yep,
That's
exactly right.
amazing.
But anyway, baseball family, let us know what you thought about your best and worst of the 2024 calendar. You can do the whole calendar year. Brig threw John Fisher in there, and he was terrible from start to finish. So you can do whoever you respond to ours, come up with your own, put them down in the comments. We want to hear what you have to say and what you have to think about our best and worst awards. We got dressed up for this and everything, so it's real fancy.
Just
It
for
means a
you.
whole lot on this show.